Well, at this point, I'm sure you've heard of ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT
is the artificial intelligence bot ChatGPT coming for your job.
Over the last year, I've spent a lot of time thinking about AI, but almost no time actually using it. With so much discourse around AI and automation eliminating jobs and replacing workers, I think it's finally time to confront the existential crisis we might all soon be facing and answer the question, am I replaceable? There are already AI video editing tools available and even more in development, but today I want to focus on the subject matter of my content. Today, ChatGPT is going to teach me how to play Pokémon GO. This is literally my first time using ChatGPT. I've never typed a single thing. I mean, I made an account just to make this video. We're going to lob it a softball to start and ask, what is Pokémon GO?
Pokémon GO is a mobile game developed by Niantic in collaboration with the Pokémon Company. The game uses augmented reality technology to allow players to catch, train, and battle virtual creatures called Pokémon, which appear as if they are in the real world. Players can explore their surroundings to find Pokémon, battle at virtual gyms, and collect items to help them on their journey. The game became a worldwide phenomenon upon its release in 2016 and has since become one of the most successful mobile games of all time, with millions of active players around the world.
All right, good answer, but fairly basic, easy question. I think we all already know that ChatGPT is more than capable of answering questions that you could find, with a simple web search. So let's take it up a level and start getting into things that are a little bit more specific to what I do here on this channel. What are the 5 most important tips for playing Pokémon GO? And it's important to note that ChatGPT's current model, GPT-4, hasn't been trained on data after September 2021. So it's not going to be up to date on the most recent additions and everything that's available in Pokémon GO. But let's be honest, how much new content have we really gotten since then? Send it.
Here are 5 important tips for playing Pokémon GO. Always be aware of your surroundings. Be careful when crossing streets or walking in crowded areas, and always be aware of any potential hazards around you. Use your resources wisely. It's important to use these resources wisely to conserve them for later. Join a team. When you reach level 5 in the game, you can join one of 3 teams: Valor, Mystic, or Instinct. Learn the strengths and weaknesses of Pokémon types. Learning the strengths and weaknesses of each type can give you an advantage in battles. Make friends and participate in raids. Participating in raids is a great way to catch rare and powerful Pokémon. It's easier to win raids with a group of players, so making friends in the game is a good idea. You can also send and receive gifts with friends to earn items and XP.
It's not bad. That's not bad. When I asked the question, I was wondering, are we going to get a Niantic answer or like a player's answer? And number 1, be aware of your surroundings. Definitely a Niantic answer. I mean, still a good tip, to be careful. Use resources wisely. I guess so, yeah, especially if you live in a rural area where you don't have access to a ton of Pokestops. It can be harder to replenish your items. So, I don't know if it's a top 5 tip, but it's a decent tip. Join a team. I'm gonna say that's just kind of straightforward. Like, you kind of have to. Learning type advantage, I'm gonna say that's definitely a good tip. If you know type advantage, you don't really have to consult any resources to figure out what's good to use in raids. You just look at the type of the raid boss, you look at the type of Pokemon attacks that you have, and you can figure out on your own what's gonna be useful to use. So type advantage, always good. Make friends and participate in raids. Participating in raids is a great way to catch rare and powerful Pokemon, and it's easier to win with a group of players. I mean, that's good advice too. Like, when people ask what's the best way to get XP in Pokemon GO these days, it's definitely friendship. So that's a tip that I would give. But that segues nicely into my next question, which is, what are the best Pokemon to catch in Pokemon GO, keeping in mind that it doesn't know anything that happened after September 2021?
There is no single best Pokemon to catch in Pokemon GO, as it depends on your personal preferences and goals in the game. However, some Pokemon are generally considered more valuable and sought after due to their rarity, power, and popularity. Legendary Pokemon. These are rare and powerful Pokemon that can only be caught in raids or special events. Pseudo-legendary Pokemon. These are powerful Pokemon with stats and moves comparable to legendary Pokemon, but they are not quite as rare. Examples include Dragonite, Tyranitar, and Metagross. Shiny Pokemon. These are rare variations of Pokemon with unique coloring, and they are highly sought after by collectors. They can be found randomly in the wild or through special events. Rare Pokemon. Some Pokemon are simply harder to find than others, either because they are less common in certain areas or because they require special conditions to appear. Ultimately, the best Pokemon to catch in Pokemon GO are the ones that you enjoy collecting and using in battles. It's a personal choice and depends on your own goals and preferences in the game.
That's pretty much the answer I would give, is like, what do you like? That's what you should catch. I used best Pokemon because it's kind of open to interpretation. I didn't say strongest Pokemon, I didn't say rarest Pokemon, but it definitely covered all the bases there. Like, legendary Pokemon, those are some of the strongest ones to catch. Shiny Pokemon, those are some of the rarest ones to catch, the most coveted ones. But let's try to get a more specific answer. What are the 5 strongest Pokemon in Pokemon GO?
The strength of a Pokemon in Pokemon GO depends on various factors,
Here
including
we
its base
go
stats,
again.
moveset, and individual combat power. Mewtwo is a legendary Pokemon with high base stats and a versatile moveset. Rayquaza is another legendary Pokemon with high base stats and a powerful Dragon-type moveset. Kyogre is a legendary Pokemon with high base stats and a strong Water-type moveset. Groudon is a legendary Pokemon with high base stats and a strong Ground-type moveset. Machamp is not a legendary Pokemon, but it has high base attack stats and a powerful Fighting-type moveset. It is often used in gym battles and raids due to its ability to deal massive damage. It's worth noting that there are many other strong Pokemon in the game, and the effectiveness of a Pokemon depends on various factors such as its moveset, IVs, and the specific battle scenario.
That's actually another pretty good answer. The strength of a Pokemon, I mean, that's accurate. Mewtwo, I've said it many times, it is the best Pokemon in the game. Currently, Shadow Mewtwo, strongest Pokemon, highest DPS. In the future, Mega Mewtwo will be by far the best attacker no matter what. Rayquaza is good, and especially with Mega Rayquaza coming eventually, it will be the best dragon type at that point. It's not the strongest dragon type to use right now, but when Mega Rayquaza comes out, for sure. Kyogre and Groudon, especially since we just got their primal forms, they are definitely the best water and ground type Pokemon. And Machamp, I mean, Machamp is a little bit dated of an answer. Like I said, it's not going to be fully up to date, but Machamp is still like an overall very useful fighting type Pokemon. It's not the best fighting type anymore by a large margin. If it had said Shadow Machamp, I would have been more inclined to agree, but as it stands, we have a lot of newer fighting types that are better than Machamp currently. So Terrakion, Lucario, Conkeldurr, Pokemon that were definitely out by September of 2021, right? But I would agree, those are definitely 5 of the top Pokemon that I would recommend trying to focus on and get good IV spreads for. I'm gonna throw out a bit of a curveball here. I'm really curious how it's gonna answer this. How do you define success in Pokemon Go?
Success in Pokemon Go can be defined in different ways depending on a player's personal goals and preferences. Here are some examples. Completing the Pokédex. The Pokédex is a collection of all the Pokemon in the game, and completing it can be a significant accomplishment. Achieving a high trainer level, such as level 40 or above, can be a sign of dedication and commitment to the game. Battles against other players or in gyms can be a competitive aspect of the game, and winning battles can be a measure of success for some players. Participating in these events and completing the challenges can be a way of achieving success and earning exclusive rewards. Ultimately, success in Pokemon Go can also be defined by how much enjoyment and satisfaction a player gets from the game. Whether it's exploring new areas, catching rare Pokemon, or bonding with friends over the game.
I mean, that's definitely the answer I would give. Is, again, it's totally up to you and what you want to do. For the completionists, there's the Pokédex. For the competitive among you, there is your trainer level or winning battles in PvP if you want to do well in GBL. Participating in events, I don't know that I would necessarily call that a form of success in Pokemon Go. You know, we know that that's like kind of a privilege to be able to go to real world events in Pokemon Go. Enjoying the game though. Number 5, 100%. If you're enjoying the game, you are succeeding. If you're not enjoying the game, I know a lot of people probably aren't right now, it's okay to take a break. Success can be simply having fun and enjoying the experience. I'm gonna just put it out there that this applies to life in general. Now, I'm not just gonna sit here and ask questions from inside all day. This is Pokemon Go, right? We have to go. So I wanna know where it thinks I should go play. What is the best place to play Pokemon Go in under 30 minutes travel time from Long Beach, California?
There are many great places to play Pokemon Go within 30 minutes of Long Beach, California, depending on your preferences and goals in the game. The Pike Outlets in Long Beach is a popular shopping and dining destination that also happens to be a great spot for playing Pokemon Go. If you're willing to venture a bit farther, downtown Disney in Anaheim is another popular spot for playing Pokemon Go.
All right, so it seems to like to give, well, it depends on what you like type of answers. I guess I need to be more specific, but the number 1 recommendation here is probably what I would also recommend in Long Beach, the Pike. The Pike is where I normally go when I need to play, for events, for community days, for whatever's going on. I need to film a video. I'm usually going down to the Pike. Downtown Disney, if you're willing to venture a bit further, I'm not. It is a great place to play the game, not somewhere I'm interested in going. But since ChatGPT is teaching me how to play Pokemon Go today, we are gonna take its advice and go to the Pike. So here I am at the Pike Outlets, and usually when I say the Pike, or we say the Pike, people who play Pokemon Go in Long Beach, generally we mean the area across the street, which is technically Rainbow Harbor, Lagoon Park, something like that. We just say the Pike to refer to this entire area. But now that I'm here, I want to put ChatGPT into more of a real-world scenario and see what it suggests I do at this very moment in Pokemon Go. I'm gonna tell ChatGPT what I see right now and ask, what should I do if my goal is to gain as much XP as possible? something went wrong. We'll refresh and try again.
If your goal is to gain as much XP as possible, here are some steps you can take. Catch the weather boosted Pokemon first. Drifblim, Exeggutor, and Meditite are all weather boosted, which means they have a higher level and better stats. Catching them will earn you more XP and Stardust. Spin the Pokestop. Spin the nearby Pokestop to get some items, such as Pokeballs, potions, and revives. You'll also get XP for spinning the stop. Battle the Omastar Raid. Battling and defeating the Omastar Raid boss will earn you a significant amount of XP. Try to join a raid group or invite other players to increase your chances of winning. Catch the remaining Pokemon. Perugly, Voltorb, and Patrat are all common Pokemon and will not earn you as much XP as the weather boosted Pokemon. However, catching them will still earn you some XP and help you complete your Pokédex. Overall, focus on catching the weather boosted Pokemon, battling the Omastar Raid, and spinning the Pokestop to maximize your XP gains.
Sun's coming out. So if my goal is to get as much XP as possible, catching the weather boosted Pokemon first doesn't necessarily help with that. A weather boost will get you more Stardust for catching Pokemon, and it's true they are a higher level and will have potentially better stats, higher IVs because of the weather boost, but I'm not gonna catch more XP because of the weather boost. Spinning the Pokestop is not gonna get me a ton of XP. It's not a new Pokestop, although I didn't specify, but I would definitely say battling the raid would be the first recommendation if you really want XP. I mean, I'll start with the weather boosted Pokemon, and they're despawning. Some of them despawned while I was talking to ChatGPT. And I'll say that it didn't really get the order right, at least the order that I would recommend you do things. Drifblim, 170 XP, and then Perugly, non-weather boosted. Well, I hit a great throw, which brings me to my point. My recommendation would have been try to hit an excellent throw because you actually do get more XP for hitting a better throw. So 220 for hitting that with a great throw rather than no throw bonus. So ChatGPT missed that point, and definitely doing a raid is going to get you more XP than catching any individual Pokemon or spinning a Pokestop. Since we have this Omastar, invisible Pokemon, there it is. Were we inside its head? Since we have this Omastar raid here, let's see if ChatGPT can suggest some counters. What are the best counters to use in an Omastar raid in Pokemon GO?
Omastar is a rock, water-type Pokemon, which makes it weak to grass, electric, fighting, and ground-type attacks. Grass-type Pokemon like Roserade, Tangrowth, and Sceptile are excellent choices against Omastar. Electric-type Pokemon like Raikou, Electivire, and Zapdos can also deal super effective damage with moves like Thunder Shock and Thunder. Fighting-type Pokemon like Machamp, Lucario, and Hariyama are strong against Omastar due to their resistance to rock-type moves. Ground-type Pokemon like Groudon, Excadrill, and Garchomp can deal super effective damage with moves like Earthquake and Drill Run. Other good options include rock-type Pokemon with fighting or grass-type moves, such as Breloom, Rampardos, and Terrakion.
It's got the typing right, rock and water, which makes it weak to grass, electric, fighting, and ground type. It doesn't specify that Omastar is double weak to grass, and therefore grass is the best type to use, but it does list grass-type Pokemon as number 1, so I'll kind of give it that. Grass-type Pokemon like Roserade, Tangrowth, and Sceptile are excellent choices against Omastar, but definitely not the best choices. I'm going to try to be a little bit more specific and see if it can come up with a better answer. What are the best Mega and Shadow Pokemon to use in an Omastar raid in Pokemon GO? Because as we know, Megas and Shadows are some of the better counters for any type.
As a grass, poison-type Pokemon, Mega Venusaur can resist Omastar's water and rock-type moves. Mega Charizard X. As a fire, dragon-type Pokemon, Mega Charizard X can resist Omastar's rock-type moves. Shadow Machamp can deal super effective damage with moves like Counter and Dynamic Punch. Its increased attack stat as a Shadow Pokemon makes it even more effective. Other good options include Mega Gyarados, Shadow Tyranitar, and Shadow Mewtwo.
It's almost correct. Mega Pokemon have higher base stats, yes. Shadow Pokemon don't have higher base stats than their normal counterparts, but they do get that 20% damage buff. They also take 20% more damage, but their base stats are the same as the non-Shadow counterparts. Now, Mega Venusaur, great recommendation, and considering it's not going to know any Pokemon after September 2021, it's not going to know Kartana, it's not going to know Mega Sceptile, so that's a good answer. Mega Venusaur, as of September 2021, was probably the best grass type to use. Mega Charizard X, as a fire and dragon type Pokemon, it doesn't resist Omastar's rock type moves. It's actually weak to Omastar's rock type moves. Dragon Breath and Blast Burn are not going to deal super effective damage to an Omastar, so that's just flat out wrong all the way through. Shadow Machamp, great choice. Like we talked about earlier, Shadow Machamp is better than regular Machamp. It's a great fighting type Pokemon, but again, I would still recommend grass-type Pokemon. And Shadow Raikou, again, a good Shadow Pokemon, a good counter. It's super effective as an electric type, but grass is double super effective. So I would have expected every recommendation to be a grass-type Pokemon. Out of curiosity, I'm gonna look at Omastar counters on Pokebattler, and let's just see what the top counters are. Mega Sceptile, of course, Kartana, there's Shadow Tangrowth, Shadow Sceptile, Shadow Torterra, Shadow Venusaur, Zarude, I don't know if it was out back then, Shaman and Circuitry weren't, Shadow Alolan Exeggutor. There's a lot of Shadow Grass types that should have been recommended over Shadow Machamp and Shadow Raikou, but it just missed all of those. So I'm gonna take ChatGPT's advice here and go in with the Mega Venusaur, Tangrowth, Sceptile, Roserade, Shadow Machamp, and, well, regular Raikou. I actually don't have a Shadow Raikou. Oops. But considering the double weakness to grass, I think just Venusaur alone will probably be more than enough to win this raid. Okay, I take it back. Almost enough to win this raid. So now I'm using Tangrowth, although, to be fair, ChatGPT did not say I should be using Sludge Bomb. Ideally, this would be Mega Evolved, but again, we're giving it a pass because Mega Sceptile only came out at the end of 2022. So ChatGPT doesn't even know who that is yet. So it gave me enough advice to win the raid. It's a 3-star raid, so it's not a difficult raid, but it was definitely very wrong with some of its information. And at 5,000 XP, definitely the best thing to do for XP out of the options that I gave it earlier. Kind of a quiet day here at the Pike. No lures, one lure, but I'm going back to ChatGPT for more advice. First of all, I want to know, what are the odds of catching a shiny Pokemon in Pokemon Go?
The odds of catching a shiny Pokemon in Pokemon Go vary depending on the species of the Pokemon and the method of encounter. For most wild encounters, the base rate for catching a shiny Pokemon is approximately 1 in 450. The base rate for catching a shiny Pokemon in raids is approximately 1 in 20. However, this rate can be increased if multiple players catch the raid boss. During monthly community day events, the rate for catching a shiny Pokemon is increased to approximately 1 in 25 for the featured Pokemon. It's important to note that these are just approximate rates, and some players may have better or worse luck than the average. Some shiny Pokemon may have different odds or may only be available through special events or promotions.
You know, almost right on a lot of it. For most wild encounters, the base rate for catching a shiny Pokemon is approximately 1 in 450. I'll take that. 1 in 450, 1 in 500, 1 in 512. The consensus is that's the general range. For certain Pokemon during special events, the rate may be increased to 1 in 100 or even higher. True. For raids, the base rate for catching a shiny Pokemon in raids is approximately 1 in 20. That's not true. 1 in 20 for legendary Pokemon, yes, but other Pokemon in raids will pretty much have the same shiny odds that they would have anywhere else, so base rate 1 in 450. It then continues, this rate can be increased if multiple players catch the raid boss, which is not true. That's just not true. That sounds like something that was published in an article a very long time ago when raids first came out, and then a bunch of other articles copied and pasted that into their own articles, and those articles were probably included in ChatGPT's training models, which would explain why it's, well, wrong about that. The odds of hatching a shiny Pokemon from an egg are the same as for wild encounters, approximately 1 in 450. Kind of true, but again, it's species dependent, right? We know that every species of Pokemon has its own shiny rate, from whether it's base rate 1 in 450, perma boost 1 in 64. It depends on the Pokemon, not where you're getting it from. Although some recent events have changed that a little bit. And for Community Day, the rate is increased to approximately 1 in 25 for the featured Pokemon, which is also true. I forgot that you can, like, talk back to it, you know? Like, correct it. So what if I tell it shiny rate doesn't increase if multiple players catch the raid boss? What do you have to say about that? I apologize for the mistake. You were correct. The odds of catching a shiny Pokemon in a raid are the same for each individual player, which is approximately 1 in 20 for most raid encounters. Let's try correcting this as well. 1 in 20 is only the shiny rate for legendary raid encounters.
You are correct. I apologize for the mistake in my previous responses. The base shiny rate for legendary raid encounters is approximately 1 in 20, while the base shiny rate for other raid encounters is approximately 1 in 50. However, it's important to note that the exact shiny rates for specific Pokemon and events may vary and may be adjusted by Niantic.
Again, not quite. It's a teaching moment, you know? That's what we're here for, to teach. Given that I understand how this language model works, I don't really feel any sense of satisfaction having corrected it, you know? So anyway, let's get back to some questions that maybe it can answer. We're gonna stay on the subject of shinies, because let's face it, that's what we care about, and ask, what is the best way to find shiny Pokemon in Pokemon Go.
Finding shiny Pokemon in Pokemon Go is largely a matter of luck, as the chances of encountering shiny Pokemon are typically quite low. Niantic frequently hosts events that feature increased spawns of certain Pokemon, including shiny variants. These events may also have increased shiny rates, making it more likely that you'll encounter a shiny Pokemon.
I mean, that last line kind of sums it up. Ultimately, the best way to increase your chances of finding shiny Pokemon is to keep playing the game and checking for opportunities to encounter them. Good luck. That is correct. The best way to increase your chances of finding a shiny is to just check as many as you can. Although participate in events, I'll give you that. Shiny rates are often boosted at in-person events. They're boosted during events like Community Day. Some Pokemon will sometimes have a boosted shiny rate for a specific event that they're a part of. So that's true. Check nests. You know, if you're looking for a specific shiny, just finding as many of that Pokemon that you can find is the best way to find the shiny. I got no spawns because I'm out here at the end of the pier in the middle of the water, but whatever the nest Pokemon is here, yeah, I can't tell. If I wanted to find the shiny of the nest Pokemon, just staying here in the nest and shiny checking a bunch is the best way to do that. Using lures will just increase the number of Pokemon that you encounter, the number of shiny checks that you get. Same with research tasks. And then trading with friends, it increases your chances of obtaining a shiny by telling your friend to give you the shiny and then you get it. So I'm judging, but you know what? That's actually probably the right answer. The best way to get a shiny Pokemon in Pokemon Go is to find someone who has it and ask them to trade it to you. That is a guaranteed way to get a shiny. You're right about that. I think the conclusion today is that I am currently not in danger of being replaced by ChatGPT, at least as a source of Pokemon Go information. There are a lot of other ways that AI could potentially replace me as a YouTuber, as a presenter of information, very soon. I mean, in a weird dystopian way, I kind of already work for AI. My job is basically to convince an algorithm that the content that I'm making is worth showing to humans because it will make more money for the algorithm's boss, YouTube, CEO. But this has been a really fun and interesting topic for me personally to just spend time thinking about and exploring, and I have a lot of thoughts about AI and where things are going and what that means for creative people, what that means for artists, or just, I mean, people in so many different fields. But I don't know that this Pokemon Go video is really the place for me to just spew all those thoughts. So I think it would be more interesting to like discuss it. So probably next time I go live over on the other site, maybe today, I mean, come check. I think it would be really fun to like just have a conversation about it and hear everyone's thoughts here. So leave a comment if you have thoughts. Come over to the live stream if you want to talk about it. I think it's really, really interesting. It's a really interesting place that we're at in human history and human evolution. Thanks for watching. Speaking of AI, YouTube's algorithm thinks that you'll enjoy this video, so maybe it's more accurate than ChatGPT. Click on this one. Let me know if you like it, and I'll see you in the next video or on the other website. Bye!